Joining us now, Katrina Pierson. She is a spokesperson for Donald J. Trump for President Incorporated. As always, good to have you here on America Talks Live. As I mentioned, my co-host can't stop grinning. He's literally grinning ear to ear over some of these tweets. Your reaction, I'm sure it's a positive one.
Well, it's great to be with you guys on SCOTUS Day.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. Last night, I think Donald Trump Jr. said it best, that 9 p.m., be prepared for a flash flood of liberal tears. And that's exactly what's happening. They are apoplectic about the pick, which is really strange to me because Judge Kavanaugh is really a mainstream, highly credentialed, originalist, textualist, and I can't figure out why the sky is falling. I think, John, you left out that we're going to have toxic air, toxic water, and the whole world is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
But it's exhausting, and I think people are exhausted. NBC put out a poll, 62% of people want this dealt with before the midterm election. I think this is great for the court simply because to have someone there that's actually going to interpret the law. And really, I think the left is projecting in a major way because they are the ones that go out and try to recruit judges that legislate from the bench. And they're projecting that onto this particular candidate. And I think that's extremely unfair.
Well, here's Democratic Senator Cory Booker, also no surprise there, opposing Kavanaugh. Here's what he told a local news outlet last night.
That this was the only pick amongst his entire list that has explicitly said that a president should not be a subject of a criminal investigation. It's almost as if President said, let me find the person that's most going to protect me under an investigation that's already led to over 70 charges, over 20 individuals, corporations have been charged, 5 guilty pleas, 1 sentencing. So we have an ongoing investigation that's a bipartisan supported investigation, as we saw throughout the Senate committee, and a president who's saying, I have a chance to now make sure the Supreme Court gives me a get out of jail free card.
So, Katrina, I hear what you're saying. Democrats are making a big deal out of this, or they're blowing this out of proportion. But on the flip side, Republicans are also making a big deal about this. A lot of eyes have been focusing on this. There's a reason why the president chose to keep everyone on pins and needles and make this announcement at 9 o'clock at night, because people do believe that this could shift the country, that the pendulum will swing, so to speak.
Well, we hope so.
Well, see, but that's what I'm saying. You can't tell Democrats it's no big deal, but at the same time say it's kind of a big deal.
But why is it a big deal? That's the question. I mean, elections do have consequences. Presidents get to pick Supreme Court nominations. That's how this works. This is also someone, and we have to remind people that this judge was on the original list that we put out in 2016 during the campaign cycle. This predates everything that Cory Booker is talking about. And I think this is one of the things that is really ideal. We're shifting back into Russia all of a sudden, particularly with individuals on the left. But this is supposed to be transformative. This is what happens. This is a natural progression of a country. And you should want someone who is an originalist and a textualist so that you don't have wide swings out there. And the problem is, and I think the Wall Street Journal said it best today when they put out an article talking about the importance of having a genuinely conservative court that really liberates the individual and focuses on self-governance, to know that you change the laws through elections and the measures of getting the electoral process through the legislative branch, not by judicial fiat. And the left wants to do everything by judicial fiat because they know they could never pass these types of things through their state legislatures, more or less through the Congress.
So, Katrina, then back to that point, then, what does Judge Kavanaugh bring to the table then?
Judge Kavanaugh brings a wide variety of already he has the longest record. And this is what was really important. So there really is no guessing game as to what he stands for. He is strong on guns. He's strong on freedoms. He's strong on so many things that we could spend all day talking about all the papers that he's written. But I think that having that knowledge and experience to bring to the court, he clerked for Kennedy. So this really isn't something. He was hired by Elena Kagan. So he has this vast experience through a lot of judicial contexts, including his own mother that he spoke about last night. So to be able to have that person on the court who's young, who's dynamic, who's experienced, can bring that knowledge to the table through a contextualist way, a constitutional way that's really not involved in swinging through an ideology, but more or less what the Constitution was written for, why it was written, most importantly, I think that's going to be huge moving forward.
Katrina, this has been the most transparent process of any president ever nominating a Supreme Court justice. It's also pretty much consensus, even among Democrats who are honest, that Kavanaugh was the most confirmable of the candidates that we were all looking at on this particular list. So how is it that Democrat activists who were ready to protest this last night had signs printed for all different possibilities that the president might nominate? And you and I did Tea Party going way back to the beginning. We're both founders. Katrina, that's a costly thing to have all those signs ready to go, all those different names. How are the Democrats doing this? Who is funding this?
Katrina, we have about 30
Well,
seconds.
that's the thing. Perfect. That's the thing, Gina. We go back a decade, and we've been dealing with this from the beginning. This is always funded by someone on the left. But here's the thing. The people are on the side of the president. They voted for him. They voted for this list. And I don't see any problems with him being confirmed by October.
Katrina Pierson, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks,
Always
Katrina.
a pleasure to have you.
Newsmax TV. Watch us on Dish, DirecTV, AT&T Uverse, Verizon Fios, or download our free app. Don't have Newsmax TV? Call your local cable provider and request Newsmax today.